Hello, how are you? Have you got any problems with comparative sentences? Did you like it? Or did you remember these structures? Because comparative sentences were learned when we were in primary school and secondary school. Today we are going to continue with a second class related to mistakes. Mistakes are very important. Mistakes Spanish people create when they build up sentences, and therefore we should pay attention to them. It's better to learn more about mistakes than to learn more about grammar. So we are going to dedicate lessons to solve and correct the main mistakes Spanish people make when they create sentences or when they speak in English language. Okay? First, we are going to start, for example, with Saxon genitive. Do you know which Saxon genitive? Well, Saxon genitive is when we want to indicate possession. In Spanish, we don't have Saxon genitive, but in English, it's very common. For example, if we say Mary's car, it's the same as if we say the car of Mary. Saxon genitive indicates possession. Saxon genitive consists of adding an es to the word. But we should pay close attention because in many cases we add only an apostrophe. For example, this one, parents, for example, parents' car. In this case, it's a plural word, ends in an S, and we add only an apostrophe, not an S and an apostrophe. An apostrophe is only this one. A common mistake is that we always put parents double S, but it is not possible. It is only possible with proper names. For example, Jade's poems. In this case, we can put an apostrophe or an apostrophe plus S. Both possibilities are correct, but not with common names. Okay? We should be and pay close attention to the fact that when we want to indicate possession in English, we use an apostrophe plus S in singular words, and in plural words, we add only an apostrophe. Okay? This is a common mistake by Spanish people, right? Another one should be, for example, the difference between well and good. The most important difference between well and good is that well is an adverb and good is an adjective. Okay? For example, this sentence, it's a good example, and this another one, I feel well. In the first sentence, good is an adjective and it is followed by a noun. The second one, well, is an adverb. And in this case, we should say well and not good. In English, we don't say I feel good. We say I feel well, okay? Another common mistake is, for example, the use of when the subject is Tom and I, instead of Tom and me. The end of the sentence should be go to the cinema, for instance. The most correct one should be this one, in which it's a subject, and therefore we use a proper name and we use a pronoun that can function as a subject. Me is a pronoun that can function as a subject, and this type of sentence is not the correct one. It's another common mistake of Spanish people, okay? Okay, let's go on with mistakes. Another common mistake is, for example, the S of the third person singular, okay? the third person, the S. We usually add S to all verbs, but it is not possible. In this case, we add an ES, and we cannot say, for example, goes with an S. It's not possible to do this. In verbs ending with an H, we add ES and not watches. It's not possible, okay? This is common mistakes because the rule says that we add an S or an ES, both sentences. In verbs ending, for example, in Y, play is an exception because it's monosyllabic, and we say plays and not plays. This is not possible, okay? Instead of study, in which this Y changes. Sorry, I forgot the ending. Studies, it's that way and not this one, right? This type of writing should be taken into account. We add an ES in many verbs, and the Y changes here. The Y doesn't change into an I because it's a monosyllabic word, but here it changes because it's not a monosyllabic word. Other typical mistake or to differentiate words, for example, a difference between steal, with red, I'm going to write down, steal and rob. These are two verbs that means more or less the same, but steal means that you steal a thing. And rob refers to a place. It's more general. For example, he robbed the bank and not steal, and he stole, or in the past tense, the watch. Okay? In this case, we say rob because the bank refers to a place, and we say stole because the watch refers to a thing. Another different meaning related to words should be, for example, watch and clock. It's different. Both means more or less the same, but we use watch when we refer to the one we put on our wrist, and clock, it's a watch on the wall. And the other is a watch on our wrist, okay? The clock on the wall, saying the hour, and the watch on your wrist, saying the hour again. There's a bit different between these two words. Finally, we should pay close attention to the difference between for and since. Oh my God, really bad. Since, okay? For means durante, it indicates duration. Sorry, duration. And since refers to a starting point. For example, I have been living here since 1985, for instance, since it refers to the time when I started to live here. And nowadays, I am still living here. If we say I have been living here the same for 2 years, it means that we live 2 years and maybe we are still living here, but it refers to the duration. Well, the first sentence refers to the starting point, the second sentence refers to the duration of the action. We can never say since 2 years or for 1985. It is not possible, okay? Well, another difference should be between 0, O, and nil. These are the three different ways of reading the number 0. Okay, for example, 0 is used when we refer to maths. Nil is used when we refer to games. For example, nil 4. Okay? A football match, for instance. And O is used when we refer to a number, when we say, for example, a telephone number, 0, 2, 3, 4, or when we refer to a letter, when we spell the letter O. These are different ways of saying the number 0, or the number, this one, 0, 1, 2, 3. And for example, when we refer to sports, we use nil. We don't say 0. 0, 4, no. Oh, nil, 4. It's much more correct. When we refer to a telephone number, we say O. My telephone number is 6503, for instance. Or when you refer to the letter O. And 0, it refers to when we study maths. When we refer to exercises related to maths, then in this case, we use the word 0. Finally, we are going to pay attention between these two different words, teacher and professor. These words refer to people that teach people, but they convey a slight different meaning. A teacher teaches in a school or in a high school, while a professor teaches in a university. Okay? Therefore, high school or a school, and the professor teaches at a university. It's a different degree, okay? Both teach, but they refer to, when we refer to a professor, we refer to a person who teach at a university, and when we refer to a teacher, we refer to a teacher in a high school or in a primary school, maybe, right? Well, for today, I think it's enough according to the most important mistakes. In another lesson, we will learn more mistakes, and we will try to create correct sentences and solve all the problems we can have, okay? Well, see you next day. Bye-bye.